Today on Co-op for Two, a quick spoiler-free review of Never House. Does the prop make the game? Let's find out. What is Never House? Well, I call this the sort of deluxe prop-heavy experience mystery game. It's a cold case game. That means there's a mystery to solve with documents that you can go through in any order, but maybe a little heavier on the puzzle side than on the deduction side. A little bit of a hybrid of everything, but with an emphasis on providing a memorable experience. Does it succeed? Well, we're going to find out. I purchased this myself for about $80, shipped internationally to America. That puts it on the very high-end cost of these things, but that makes sense when you think about the idea that you're buying this as an experience. Most of the games I cover could be played solo, including this one, but I really do think you're better off playing this with a larger group. And by larger, I just mean sort of 3 or more. 3 or 4 players may be ideal for this box. I don't think you're going to get more than an hour and a half out of this, so $80 for an hour and a half, that's a tough pill to swallow. But if you're saving up for a special experience, possibly. It does require an internet connection. You will be using the internet regularly while you play this. There is a big part of the game that relies on multimedia elements, some videos and audio and stuff like that. So you will be interacting with the internet, and not always for the better, but we'll get into that. You cannot avoid damaging the contents of this box as you play it. That means that you're not going to be able to recoup your cost by trading it and passing it on like you can with most of the mystery games that I play. You will only play it once. However, you can order a refill kit from the company that will allow you to pass it on. It costs an extra $10 or $15. All right, so I've said this will be spoiler free, but I do think you need to see what's in this box just at a glance, but I'm not going to show you the main prop. But I am going to open it up so you can see it's quite heavy, the kinds of stuff you get, and we'll just look at it. Now, if you're really sensitive to spoilers, if you really don't want to see anything in here, you can use the timestamps to jump ahead. But I'm just going to show you briefly what you'll get. I'm not going to look inside any bags or anything like that. But we've got an introductory letter. We've got some photos and stuff. We've got some drawings. This is a creepy, scary theme. We've got some rolled up tubes, a newspaper clipping, some physical item here, a bag of physical items, an envelope full of extra photos and items. And then I'm going to show you inside the other content. That's basically the totality of the box, except for this heavy, maybe a 2 pounds, 3 pound item that is interactive and is the key component that you'll spend some real time with and has a real wow factor. I'm not going to show it to you because I don't want you to be completely surprised by that. Okay, so those are the components. So not a lot of documents in this box. Not a lot of different components. One really deluxe component and a bunch of multimedia stuff, and then a few documents. So if you're interested in the cold case stuff, really digging deep into detailed documents to solve an old case, that's not quite what you get here. This is much more focused on having an experience. Okay, so let's talk about the positives. I think the main positive is, in addition to the multimedia, video and acting and stuff, which is pretty good, I think that main prop, if it succeeds for you, if it creates a memorable experience, is quite a special thing. I don't believe I've seen any other game, any other true mystery game with such a fancy, interesting, unusual, surprising prop. That probably sounds pretty wonderful to you. We've seen lots of very standard props in some of these games, like a locked bag or something, and there's some other props in this box too that feel very wasteful and pointless. But that main one is pretty impressive. Now, it's a little fragile and finicky to get it to work right. And you can watch a playthrough of this game on this channel. Maybe it took us 3 or 4 hours to play. And it wasn't entirely a success. It wasn't entirely a pleasant experience. It didn't quite work. I have heard from others that it did work for them and it was quite a special experience. I think maybe this is a game playing solo loses some of that or risks some of that. And it's a little hit or miss. So for me, the totality of the experience with this box was not wonderful. It was a little bit of a letdown. And perhaps that's because the previous box from this company, there's 3. This may be the second or third one in this series. But I've previously played another box called Witchery Spell, played live on the channel and reviewed it, that I loved. And it also was focused on producing a memorable deluxe experience. And that really worked for me. And I have given that as a gift because I do think it has the potential to create a memorable, cool experience, in addition to having an interesting mystery to solve. I think this one failed really on both accounts for me. Not by much, not by a wide margin, but I think the mystery sort of fails here. It's not that compelling. It feels unfinished. Everything about the game feels less polished, less worked out, more like there's a bug here and there. There were some really unpleasant, frustrating, inexplicably bad choices made for the web interaction components of this that could really get you stuck and frustrated through no fault of your own, just because the web interface part of the game doesn't work well and is very confusing. And I think because the main prop didn't quite live up to expectations, didn't quite work, that was also a little bit of a letdown. Both of those things not quite living up to expectations made the game suffer. But you might have a slightly different experience. And if you're willing to take a chance, there's at least the possibility that you will have a very special experience here. For me, the frustrations outweighed the fun. So I think bottom line for me, I'd rate this a 7 of 10, but lower if you consider the price. For an $80 game, that would sort of make you feel like, all right, this should be more of a 5 or a 6 because I expected more. So I guess maybe I'm saying depending on your expectations for what you're getting. If you're willing to roll the dice a little bit in the chance of having a very special experience with your friends, then it could rank quite a bit higher. You might get lucky. I do think you should start with Witchery Spell, though. I think that's much more likely to result in a good, cool experience. And keep your expectations low here, and maybe that will result in a better experience. And play with a larger group, at least 3 people, if you can do it. All right. If you played Never House, I would like to hear what you thought. Did you have an amazing experience, or were you also sort of let down? Especially if you've played Witchery Spell and this one, I'd like to hear how they compare for you. For me, Witchery Spell is much higher, and then comes Never House. If cost is no object, then maybe this is the way to go. All right, I'll see you on the next video.